Here's the hard truth about this video. All the attention in the world is worthless if it leaks away the moment that it arrives. You pull in a stranger, you make them interested, and then you have no way to hold on to them and they drift off and you never see them again. This level is what stops that leak. This is the capture level, and in the Content Flywheel Engine, it's run by the system called Impact Lead Magnets. This is part 3 of the level mini-series. Before you watch it, make sure you've seen part 2 attention, because this level catches everything that level works so hard to create. If you run a business, if you're a founder, or if you sell professional services, this is the level that decides whether your attention turns into a relationship or if it evaporates. I spent over 27 years in B2B marketing, and this single moment, turning an anonymous visitor into a known contact, is the most important conversion in the whole engine. In this video, I'll show you what the capture level is and how impact lead magnets work through value first reciprocity. I'll show you why the right magnets also qualify your audience, the outcome it produces, and how that outcome feeds the next level, nurture, which is part 4. This is one piece of a bigger framework I call the conversion ecosystem. And my goal is to use this system to help you become the most visible, the most valuable, and the most trusted business in your market. So if that interests you, keep on watching. Capture is the single most important conversion in the whole engine. It's the moment an anonymous viewer becomes a known contact that you could reach again. Let me show you why this level matters so much. Impact lead magnets is the capture layer of the flywheel, and its job is that one crucial moment. Everything before this point was about attention. Everything after it depends on capture. This is the hinge the whole engine turns on. The problem it solves is this: the attention layer creates discovery, but discovery that's not captured leaks away. A stranger notices you, gets interested, and then unless something holds on to them, they're gone. You don't have their contact, you can't reach them again, and all that effort you spent pulling them into your system evaporates the moment they close the tab. That is a fast, close-range version of what I call invisible loss, a deal that slipped away before you ever knew it existed. Attention without capture is a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Making sure that hole never opens is exactly what the conversion ecosystem is built to close. The lead magnet is what stops the leak. It trades something valuable for a way to stay in touch, so the interested viewer becomes a contact you own rather than a visitor who vanishes. It's the bridge between being seen and being in a relationship. Before capture, you have anonymous attention that leaks. After capture, you have a known person you can reach next week, next month, or whenever the time is right. This is why capture is the most important conversion in the engine. More important in a sense than the final sale, because without it, the final sale can't happen. You can't nurture someone you can't reach. You can't convert someone whose contact you never got. Everything downstream depends on the contact the capture produces. A weak capture layer starves the entire rest of the engine, no matter how much attention you create. So the job of this level is to stop attention from leaking by turning interested viewers into known contacts. It's the moment where the relationship begins, the point where a stranger stops being anonymous and becomes someone you can build trust with over time. Let me show you the mechanism that makes it work, because how you capture matters. The mechanism that makes capture work is reciprocity, and understanding it is the difference between a lead magnet that attracts buyers and one that repels them. A lead magnet turns an anonymous viewer into a known contact by giving real value before asking for anything. The order is everything. Value first, then ask. Reciprocity works like this. When you give a person something genuinely useful before asking for anything, a natural sense of exchange forms. They receive value, so offering their contact in return feels fair rather than costly. You've already proven you can help them, so sharing an email address to stay in touch feels like a reasonable trade rather than a price extracted. The value you gave first is what makes the ask feel fair. This is why the order matters so much, and why so many lead magnets fail. When the lead magnet demands the contact before delivering any value, it feels transactional and cold. The person having received nothing, so giving their contact feels like a cost with no return, so they resist. Extraction first capture attracts the wrong audience or none at all, because it violates the reciprocity that makes people willing to raise their hand. A magnet that leads with genuine value does the opposite. It earns permission because the person feels that they entered a fair exchange with a business that provided them with attention content that proved it could help them. They got something real, and in return, they're willing to be reached again. That willingness, that permission is what you're actually capturing. Not just an email address, but permission to begin a relationship, earned by giving value first. So, the discipline of a good lead magnet is to lead with genuine help always. Give something so useful that the person would have been glad to receive it, even without giving anything back. The ask becomes easy because the value already made the exchange feel fair. Value first, then ask. Get the order right, and the capture feels like a gift with a natural thank you. Get it backwards, and it feels like a toll, and interested people refuse to pay for it. A lead magnet does not just capture, it also qualifies. That's the second function businesses overlook, and it's nearly as important as the capture itself. The specific value it offers acts as a filter, attracting the people who want that value and repelling the people who don't. This means your choice of a lead magnet is deciding who fills your entire nurture layer. Think about how the filtering works. A lead magnet aimed precisely at the problem your buyers have will attract buyers, people who have exactly the problem you solve and want exactly the value you offer. The same lead magnet naturally repels people who don't have that problem because it's not for them and they know it. The precision of their lead magnet is what gets the right people in and the wrong people out before they ever enter your nurture layer. Now consider what happens with a magnet aimed too broadly. A lead magnet aimed at something broad, only loosely related to what you sell, will attract a wide audience of people who will never buy because they came for something that you don't sell. You get lots of captures, which feels like success, but you have filled your list with people who wanted a broad thing and not your actual offering. They'll never convert because they were never buyers. This leads to a counterintuitive truth. The wrong lead magnet is worse than none. A lead magnet that captures the wrong people fills your nurture layer with contacts who can never convert, which wastes the effort of every level downstream. Your nurture works to warn people who will never buy. Your conversion layer is offered people who are never in the market. The broad lead magnet felt like a win because of the volume, but it poisoned the well by filling it with the wrong people. This is why I encourage a full lead magnet ecosystem over time. Several offers match to different stages of buyer readiness, rather than betting everything on one broad magnet. So, a good lead magnet does two jobs at once. It captures and it qualifies. It's aimed precisely at the exact problem your buyers have, so it attracts the people who can actually convert and repels the people who cannot. When you design a lead magnet, don't aim for the most captures, aim for the right captures. The people with the specific problem you solve, because those are the ones who will move through the rest of the engine and become customers. The outcome of the capture level is a known qualified contact who has given you permission to stay in touch. And it's what makes everything above it possible. Impact lead magnets turn the interested viewer into a known contact. That is a deliverable. A real person, the right kind of person who you could now reach. Notice all three qualities packed into that outcome. Known. They're no longer an anonymous attention. You have their contact and can reach out to them. Qualified, because a precise lead magnet did the filtering. They're the right kind of person, someone with a problem you solve. And permissioned, because you led with value. They willingly entered the exchange, so contact them feels welcome rather than intrusive. Known, qualified, and permissioned. All three at once. This outcome is a huge upgrade from what attention produced. Attention gave you interested people who were still anonymous and still leaking away. Captured turns that fragile, temporary interest into a durable, owned relationship. That interested stranger who might have vanished is now a contact in your world, someone you could build trust with over weeks and months. That conversion from fleeting interest to a held relationship is the whole point of this level. And the outcome is what stops the engine from being a bucket with a hole in it. Before capture, every bit of attention eventually leaked out. After capture, the right people are held, kept the system where they can be warmed towards a decision. The capture layer is what turns the flow of attention into a growing base of known contacts, which is the raw material every level above it works with. So the outcome to aim for is not the most contacts, it's the right contacts, known, qualified, and permissioned. A growing list of exactly the people you can help who are willing to give you permission to stay in touch. Produce that, and if you've done the job of this level, you stop the leak and turned attention into relationships, which is what the next level takes and deepens. Most businesses miss a subtle part of this handoff, and missing it makes nurture start cold instead of relevant. Let me show you how this level feeds the next one, because the outcome of capture hands directly to nurture. Getting it right is what lets nurture begin from the right place instead of starting cold. Here's the handoff. Impact lead magnets turn the interested viewer into a known contact, and the handoff is the moment the new contact enters the nurture system and starts receiving value. But what must pass across is not just the email address, it's the context of how they entered, which lead magnet they took, at which stage they came in. That context lets the nurture begin at the right place rather than treating everybody the same. This is why context matters. A contact who downloaded a beginner's guide is at a different stage than one who requested a detailed comparison of advanced options. If nurture knows which magnet each person took, it can meet them where they actually are, continuing the specific conversation they started rather than starting from zero. The lead magnet they chose tells you what they care about, and passing that context forward lets nurture be relevant from the very first message. This handoff can break in two common ways. It breaks when the captured contacts sit in the list that never contacts them, so the capture was pointless because nurture never began. And it breaks when nurture treats every contact the same regardless of where they came in, wasting the context the magnet provided and starting every relationship from cold. Either way, the value of a precise capture is thrown away at the handoff. The fix is an automatic contextual entry into nurture the moment the capture happens. The instant someone becomes a contact, they should flow automatically into nurture, carrying the context of which lead magnet and at which stage. That way, the relationship begins the right way from the right place. That's a bridge from this level to the next. Capture produces a known qualified contact and hands it to nurture with the context that lets the relationship start relevant, which is exactly what we build in the next video. Here are the 5 things you need to understand about capture. Capture is the most important conversion in the whole engine. The moment an anonymous viewer becomes a known contact so you could reach them again. In the Content Flywheel Engine, it is run by impact lead magnets, which stops attention from leaking by trading real value for permission. Attention that is not captured leaks away, so this is the level that holds onto everything the attention layer created. The mechanism is reciprocity. Value first, then ask. Give something genuinely useful before asking for anything, and the exchange feels fair, so people are willing to become contacts. Leading with extraction feels like a toll people refuse to pay. And the magnet does a second job. It qualifies. A precise lead magnet attracts the right buyer and repels the wrong ones, which is why the wrong lead magnet is worse than none, since it fills your list with people who could never convert. The outcome is a known, qualified, permission contact, the right kind of person that you could reach again. And that outcome feeds the next level, nurture, through an automatic contextual entry carrying which lead magnet and at which stage. That way, the relationship begins the right way and from the right place. Stop the leak, capture the right people, and hand them forward with context. That is the capture level. Part 3 of the level in the mini-series, run by impact lead magnets in the Content Flywheel Engine. This is one layer of something bigger I call the conversion ecosystem. If you haven't watched part 2, attention, go back for it, because capture only works when the attention layer is feeding it the right people. Next up is part 4, nurture, where we build the level that takes these known contacts and warms them into trusting buyers over time, run by a system called Momentum Mail. Remember, the most visible, the most valuable, the most trusted business in your market wins. The whole point of the conversion ecosystem is to build a system that makes you all 3.